This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to Save a Pooch on Pet Life Radio. I am Beverly Isla, your host. We have two wonderful guests today, so thank you for tuning in. Tanya Willis, Executive Director of Agape Animal Rescue based in Nashville, is here with us, along with Jim Scano, founder of the Dog Rescue Shirt Club, whose mission is to raise funds for shelters. In today's episode, we're going to bust the myths that shelter dogs are broken, and I do hope the insights help those considering buying a dog to reconsider adopting. When we get back from these messages, Tanya Willis and Jim Scano will join us.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Save a Pooch. We are talking with Executive Director of Agape Animal Rescue, Tanya Willis, and founder of the Dog Rescue Shirt Club, Jim Scano. Thank you for being on the call with me today, guys. First, let's talk about the Agape Animal Rescue story and how they got started. Tanya, would you mind sharing with us your story?
Absolutely. So I was in college and knew that I would adopt a dog for myself after being out of my parents' house, and I knew that I needed a dog for me. And what happened, instead of me going out and adopting, is that dog found me, and that's how it happens a lot of times. So I was driving down a back road and found a litter of 6 golden retriever Labrador puppies that somebody had dumped in a ditch. And there was one that jumped out in front of my car and got my attention to the litter that had been dumped. So I pulled over and I just scooped him up. And the one that really flagged me down for his siblings, his name was Mac, and I ended up keeping him. I didn't know he was going to be my soulmate. And I had him until he was 15. He passed away just a few years ago. But the experience of trying to get help for that litter of puppies was so hard to find good help and a place for them to go. And I just thought there has to be a better way to save these dogs because they don't have a voice. I need to be their voice. And I actually called my mom from the side of the road and said, I've had my God moment, and I'm a special education major in college, but that's going to change. I'm supposed to dedicate my life to saving dogs. And so I started Agape Animal Rescue in 2004 in his honor to just continue saving dogs because of him.
Oh, wow. So how many dogs do you have right now?
Personally, I have 3 dogs that have been all adopted, and I'm a foster fail. I have adopted 2 of my foster dogs. But in the program, we typically have around 35 dogs at any given time.
At a time.
And we're operating without a facility, so all of those dogs are kept in foster homes all over Middle Tennessee, and everybody just keeps 1 foster dog so that they can give that dog really great one-on-one attention and help get them through any sort of a recovery or rehab that they need.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that one. Jim, how about yourself? Do you have any rescues yourself?
Of course. Yeah, I've got 2. Yeah, and I grew up with dogs. My parents actually, when I was growing up, we used to breed dogs, but it was kind of, I'm a little bit older, so it was before kind of the puppy mills, really started coming around. And they used to do it for Christmas money, and they would do it like once every couple of years. And I just remember, gosh, how particular my parents were about where our dogs went. And, they would interview the people would have to come over and meet them. And I mean, it was just this whole process. And I remember when my parents, gave the dogs away, it was such a big deal. We didn't have a bunch of, breeding moms. We just had, our 1 dog, and we would breed her every couple of years. My parents would help, they would use it for like Christmas money. And it was really just such a fun process for me. I wish my kids could do it, but at the same time, I'm really not interested in doing it because I know that there are so many rescue dogs out there.
Right.
So my family, me and my girls, we have 2 rescue dogs. The older one, Tundra, I actually got him. I was a fireman with the Dallas Fire Department for years. And somebody dropped him off in the back of a pickup truck. One of the guys at the station, they dropped this puppy off and left him in the back of a pickup truck. And it was storming that day.
Oh, wow.
Me and my partner, we got back to the station and we pulled up and we were going to put fuel in the ambulance. And we heard this dog whining, and it had just finished storming. Just a big, North Texas storm that just came through. We heard this puppy whine, and we thought it was over the fence, and we went looking around and found this little tiny dog. I mean, this dog couldn't have been 5 weeks old. I mean, he was just tiny, tiny, tiny. But anyway, that's where he got his name, Tundra, from the Toyota Tundra that he was left in. And then my other dog, actually my fiance, she always says that this dog found her, came up to her at work, and it was just a puppy, probably 6 or 7 weeks old, and she took it home, and we've loved it ever since. So yeah, we're stuck with 2 rescue dogs, and we love it. We wouldn't have it any other way.
Good for you guys. Well, then you guys are the perfect people to ask. So, seems that the organization Agape Animal Rescue, Tanya, you guys do quite a bit of experience with rescues that may not fit the quote perfect dog scenario. Hence the stigma behind rescue dogs being broken. So in your opinion first, is that a misperception?
Yes, absolutely. We find a lot of times there are people that feel like, well, if you want a specific breed, that you can't find them in rescue. And we have purebred dogs all day long that come into the program. And so that's one thing that people really talk about. And then another thing is, they think, well, they're rescue dogs. They've got to have such a bad background that they're never going to be potty trained, or they're always going to have behavior issues. And what we find, like dogs that are outside, when they're left on a chain or outside all the time, they are usually completely potty trained because they've never known anything other than pottying outside.
Oh, that's true.
When I'm bringing a foster dog into my house, I love when I can help a dog that has been on a chain his whole life come in and experience being a couch potato. And the one thing I never have to deal with typically is potty training. That's something to consider. And another thing about, we do a lot of work with puppy mill rescues and abuse cases. And when they finally reach that place, that home where they are feeling love and feeling completely comfortable, it's magical to me when you can see, it's like they know that they've been rescued and their personality starts coming out and they get to show you love back. And you don't see a damaged and broken, scared dog that's afraid to come out from underneath the table. You start seeing them come up and crawl on the couch with you, and you start just really seeing what the potential is of that dog. And they just appreciate that they've been rescued. It's amazing.
That is. And you've mentioned like the dogs that have to go to forever foster homes.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. I don't want to say
occasionally. That does happen. We have dogs that are considered so hard to adopt that we might have a perfect foster home for them, but financially sometimes it's hard to keep up. Like we have one dog named Barney who is a Rottie, and he has seizures, and he has a lot of seizures.
Okay.
And all the time. But there's a medication that really helps him, but it's expensive. And he's got to be on special food, and he has other medications that keep him level. And so when you have a dog that's having a lot of seizures, sometimes you have to be concerned. You have to pay attention for them biting when they're having a seizure. Not on purpose, but it does happen accidentally when he has these seizures. And so we had a foster family that loved him so much and basically said, if it was not for the financial part that comes along with him, we would keep him forever. Well, for us, we would rather have a forever foster program where we can continue to financially support that dog so that they have an amazing quality of life, because there are not many options out there for that dog. So it's just another way that you can keep a dog long term that you love and that you would have otherwise adopted, and you're not handicapped just because you're not in a certain income bracket.
Exactly. And I do just want to put it out there that even if you do go to a breeder, there still could be some issues. So I just want to make sure that there's no bias between rescue dogs, right? So
Absolutely. We actually find a lot of dogs that come to us. The way that we get a lot of our purebred dogs is from people that spent a ton of money. I have 2 purebred Newfoundlands that are both rescue dogs. One of them, a family paid $5,000 for, which is, I think, how many rescue dogs could have benefited from that $5,000.
Right.
But
right.
when they are coming from breeders, we're getting them with a lot of health issues. The larger dogs have, we've got hip dysplasia and problems such as that. But a big problem that we see is people are trying to breed the Yorkies and the smaller dogs to be, the tiniest size. They have so many health problems that a lot of times they don't make it because their internal organs, they haven't developed properly. And so sometimes, most of the time, I'd say the dogs that are coming from situations like that have more health problems than the backyard mutt.
That's true. And that's the ones that people like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that about teacups.
Yeah. So sometimes you get a little bit more than you bargained for, and then they call us and say, I've already spent this much money for this dog. Now he needs hip dysplasia maintenance, and we're out. We're not going to deal with this. They do have trouble potty training sometimes. We're not going to deal with these issues. And then our foster parents are specialized, and we're very fortunate to have such skilled foster parents because they're used to, they all get their niche. And so we have some that they really love to deal with medical problems. Maybe they're a nurse by profession. And we have others that really like to deal with socialization. Everybody figures out what their special place is. And so that allows us to take these dogs that are considered broken at one point and help them go through physical rehab, emotional rehab. And then when we get all the way to adoption, you can't even tell that they're the same dog.
Amen to that. Now, Jim, you've been on both sides of the fence, Jim, with rescuing. Also, that you mentioned that you experienced your parents breeding. So, what's your take on rescue dogs being broken?
Yeah, I agree a lot, 100% really with what Tanya said. So many of the things that she said, about, a lot of times the purebred dogs do come with a lot of issues because, the breeding isn't always. And I'm not against purebred dogs. I think there's certainly a place for it. I'm glad that there's good breeders out there because I do think that it's great to have purebred dogs out there and to maintain the lines. I think it's really, really beneficial to the species overall. But I totally, there isn't a lot of regulation on how those purebred dogs are bred a lot of times. And a lot of times they do come with problems like Tanya had mentioned. And the rescue dogs, the ones that have sort of had to fight for their life, so to speak, those are the hardiest dogs you can find. Those are the ones that, they're like, Mack trucks. They're, of course, you're always going to have your dog that has an issue regardless of where you get it. That's just, that's not up to us.
For sure, yeah. But,
the rescue dogs or the street dogs, like I said, a lot of times those are the hardiest dogs out there because those are the ones that had to fight for it, and I agree with what Tanya said. They're the ones that really connect with you. I've seen that so many times, like you said, I've been on both sides of the fence and I had a great relationship with the dogs, when I grew up in our purebred dogs and all that. We had great relationship. I had great dogs growing up, but, it's something different with the rescue dog. There's a connection between a rescue dog and their owners that I think is different. It just is. I don't know how to explain it, but they just know. They just know. It's like that sixth sense. They know. And I think it creates just an incredible bond between an owner and a dog.
Absolutely. Well, in that case, then myth is busted. It could probably just be worded more correctly, like what you said, Tanya. There may be issues in the beginning, but after socialization and rehab, like you said, completely different dog. And that's the takeaway I think that people should consider.
I think that so much of it, I don't think that it matters as much as whether it's a purebred dog or a rescue dog, as much as it does to do with how the dog is raised from day one.
Yeah,
very true.
So much of that. When you have a broken dog, a dog that's not potty trained, a dog that has behavior issues or whatever, that's not always because it's a purebred or it's a rescue dog or a street dog or whatever. That's because of the way the dog was treated and, how it was raised from the day it was born more than anything, I believe.
Yes. Fabulous point.
Absolutely.
So it really does come down to humans.
Of course. No doubt.
Yeah, definitely. I can weigh in on the puppy raising a little bit because we have a puppy program that we started because we were seeing the local shelters and rescues and even out in the rural areas, they were having a hard time keeping pregnant dogs and newborn babies, newborn puppies, even the older puppies, just because of manpower. And so we decided to start a program specifically geared towards the pregnant dogs and the puppies. But what we had to do is we wanted to lower the euthanasia rate in that category of dogs because we have the resources. And what we had to do, though, was some pretty hardcore continuing education for the puppy raisers because there are specific guidelines that, like for socialization, every week of development after birth that they're supposed to experience in order to create this well-socialized family dog.
Yes.
And so we have little booklets. When you foster a puppy, your dog is supposed to meet 100 people in one day.
Wow.
And you think that that's impossible, but if you take them to Lowe's and Home Depot, we all have local stores that are dog friendly. And so at first that felt overwhelming when we were looking at the proper socialization and how to create these amazing puppies for people. And then you're only 4 hours into the day and you've met your mark. And so it's really not that hard to give them what they need. And then we also have a checklist of things that they're supposed to experience, like a hairdryer, a broom, a vacuum. Just go and sweep the floor beside them, blow dry your hair with them in the room, different things like that. And so by the time they've grown up in our program and they're 12 weeks old-ish, they're finding a forever family. Most of the puppies, they're comfortable wearing a leash, collar, leash harness. They're comfortable with that. They're sitting. They already know how to sit. And people are amazed. And so that's part of what our mission is, to help the puppies who, if you were in a shelter environment for 8 weeks, that creates a much different dog for families than when they get that one-on-one attention, just like you were talking about.
Wow, that is such a valuable program. Like I've heard of, one-off puppy socialization classes, but your take with the phasing is superb. That's awesome.
Yeah, it has been successful.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, we're just going to have a quick break and we'll continue with talking with our guests.
Put on a perfectly possum pet party. Having an awesome birthday or adoption day celebration for your four-legged friend? Or just want a fun excuse to throw a fun party with your friends from the dog park? Deck out your party with Molly and Bandit Pet Party accessories. Party products designed specifically for pets. There are wearables, including adjustable pet party hats, bow ties, and tutus. The photo prop kits include funny glasses and hats. The party supplies and decorations include coordinating table covers, party banners, cake decorations, and treat bowls, cups, and bags. Everything you need to create great memories and Instagram-worthy photos. They're available in 2 colorful themes, tropical and fireman. It's a dog's life. Celebrate it with Molly and Bandit Pet Party at mollyandbanditpetparty.com/petlife.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Save a Pooch. We are talking with Tanya Willis from the Agape Animal Rescue and Jim Scano from the Dog Rescue Shirt Club. Before we get to Jim's awesome mission, I just want to ask you both, what are the top things that people need to know when deciding to adopt or buy from a breeder? Any one of you guys can go first, maybe Jim, because...
Yeah, jump in.
Well, I think that when you're trying to decide whether to buy from a breeder or a rescue, I think it really has to do more with what your intention is and what your goal is as a family. Because when, as we know, when you bring that dog in or any animal for that matter, it becomes a family member. And I think it's just like when you're a husband and wife and you decide to have a child, you're trying to decide, is it the right time? Is it, do we want another child? Whatever that case may be, just like bringing in a dog, you decide what's the goal of the family and how's it going to fit in. And once you decide that, then I think it'll help dictate what you're going for. Me personally, this is just my own personal belief. I've always been buy from a breeder when I was younger. I always wanted the purebred German Shepherd and all that. Now that I'm older and I'm more involved, me personally, and, I'm not judging anyone that does anything different, but me personally, I just have such a hard time going to breeders now, not because breeders are doing anything wrong, but because I just know there's so many good dogs out there, and I just struggle with that. It's like, gosh, why I just can't do it. There's just too many good dogs out there that, that are at Agape Dog Rescue with Tanya that need homes, and, why not give them a chance? I mean, those dogs are having it tough.
Yeah,
absolutely. I completely agree with that. And a couple other things that we always ask people to consider. And with our program, we actually go out and do a home visit with the family to help them look at their environment, because sometimes we will have, let's say, an elderly couple in an assisted living, a 900 square foot apartment apply for a Great Dane or something like that, where you call them and say, I know that you love this Great Dane, but let's talk about your environment and your lifestyle and how active you are or not active. And so we found a lot of value in coming out and doing a home visit. We always joke and say we're not bringing a white glove. We don't care how much stress you have. But what we care about is, are you thinking that you want a puppy? And then we look under your computer desk and we see 7 layers of cords that the puppy is going to get in trouble with. And so we get to help them walk around their house and say, okay, show me right now, we have our dog. What's your daily routine? You get up, you cook breakfast. Is your dog coming in with you? Are they baby gated to certain rooms of the house because you have a toddler? Are they, what is your daily life going to be like with this dog? And then we start profiling, saying, okay, your energy level is so high, you can definitely handle this blue heeler that needs to run all the time. Or
that's true, yeah.
You've got 3 kids in the mix, like you said, you've got to have a dog that's a little bit more socialized with a proven record around kids. Or some dogs we don't know, we don't have enough background to know how they're going to handle those environments. A big thing that we see that people sometimes don't think about is the front door. People that have teenagers and a lot of kids that are in and out, friends are coming over all the time. Dogs running out the front door is something that you just kind of don't think about until you're in the moment and you're hosting parties all the time and you're a social person that has a lot of people in and out. And then, every other day, Fido is getting out the front door and possibly getting injured. And so we talk about things like that, too. Is there a screen door, or can you baby gate away from the door? Do you have a fenced-in yard or not? So we don't put blanket rules for the organization, such as you have to have a fenced-in yard to adopt from Agape, because we're a firm believer that every dog has a perfect situation for them that's going to be different than another dog. So we don't want to create standards like that across the program. But that's where, when you're thinking about what is a good match for my family, I think there's a benefit to not putting those blanket rules, because you can say, okay, you know what? Yep, I've got that dog.
Right.
Oh, that's a very good explanation, because the fosters that I've worked with, the front door has been overlooked quite a number of times, I have to admit. So thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, that's a good one. A fast dog gets out quickly, and a senior dog may not care, stays on the couch every time you open it.
True.
Right.
So let's get into Jim's mission. Jim, you've worked with Agape Animal Rescue before. And thank you for doing what you do. Campaign. Yeah, I can't imagine
you're welcome, Tanya. We appreciate you working with us.
Yeah. So how did you guys work together, Jim? And what does your membership do? Like, what do you do?
So I started a Dog Rescue Shirt Club in November of 2016. And what we do is each month we have members that subscribe. It's kind of like, I always say it's kind of like the Dollar Shave Club for T-shirts, because everybody seems to know what Dollar Shave Club is. Basically, you subscribe and it's $20 a month. Each month we work with a different dog rescue from all across the country. Mm-hmm. And then with their permission, we print their shirt and then we send it out to our members. So it's a great way for our members to sort of collect T-shirts. Everybody wears T-shirts, and you could almost never have enough T-shirts, right? So, it's a great way for our members to collect T-shirts and know that a portion of the T-shirts that they're purchasing each month goes back to help a different rescue. So instead of, you have your local rescue that maybe you adopted your dog from and you want to support that rescue, that's fantastic. We encourage you to do that. But if you enjoy collecting T-shirts and you want to just be able to help more dogs and more rescues all across the country, without regard to where they are, who they are, or if you've met them or not, this is a great way, because a portion of the T-shirt goes back to the rescue. And typically it's in the form of cash. It just depends on what the rescue needs. We've done various things. We've done cash. We've done dog food. We've done T-shirts for marketing. We just have extra T-shirts made up, and we donate those. It's really up to the rescue and what the rescue needs that dictates what we donate. But we put a dollar value on it, and then we make the donation. We have a great following on Facebook. The quality of the T-shirts that we put out, I think, is really good. We don't they're not like, when you go to, I don't know, a fair or a whatever, they hand you a T-shirt that's kind of a marketing T-shirt, a cheap one. Ours are higher end T-shirts. We do a nice quality T-shirt so that when you're getting your T-shirt, you're going to enjoy wearing your T-shirt. It's not just going to be like a Saturday afternoon painting T-shirt.
Right.
They're good T-shirts. And, one of the biggest questions is, how much goes back to the rescues? And we've even had people that have struggled with, why isn't all the money going back to the rescues? And I'm like, well, why don't you
be
fund
losing
the T-shirts?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I can't afford to buy T-shirts for everybody that wants to sign up and donate all the money. So we do the best that we can, and we would love to increase the amount that goes back to the rescues. And the only way to do that is to gather more members, because then our costs go down. Just like any business, the more you can buy, the cheaper things get. Well, of course, that leaves us with more money left over, which means more money can go back to the rescue. Right now, we're at about $6.60 of every shirt goes back to the rescue.
How many members do you have up around right now?
Right now, it fluctuates. I'll tell you, one of our biggest months was with Agape Animal Rescue. They they have an incredible following, and I don't know what they did to push us that month. But
I'm a member.
Gosh, we signed up a lot of people. We range anywhere from about 120 to 200 members per month. It just fluctuates, different times of year, things like that. But it just depends, So anywhere from about 120 to 200 members. I mean, you can easily calculate and figure out what that is. That's anywhere from, $600 to, $1,200 or whatever that goes back to the rescue, which it's not life-changing. It's not going to make them, you don't have to be able to build a new building or anything like that.
But it helps. Anything
helps.
But
it helps, right? It helps. And it doesn't cost them anything. There's no investment for the rescue. It doesn't cost them a dime. It's just an involvement and a coordination with us. And, my thing is we've got, let's say we've got 120 or we've got 200 members. There's no reason why this couldn't have 2,000 members. And in which case we'd be giving, what is that, $12,000 back to rescue. I mean, now that, I wouldn't call it life-changing, but that is substantial money that can go back to a rescue. I mean, that would make, I don't know, Tanya, you tell me, but if we were able to write a check for $10,000 or something like that to a rescue.
That is definitely substantial. And another thing that I think that you guys offer, if you don't mind me throwing this in, is that a lot of times, we're not funded by anybody. We rely on donations, grants, individual support. And so we also typically in this industry are underpaid or not paid and overworked. The part that we don't have time to do is the design work. And that's where you guys say, you know what, send me your logo. We're going to do all the design for you. You still get to approve it. The shirts are really great quality. And so when we were looking to work with you guys, if we would have been expected to take on the design work too, now we have to decide, do we pay somebody to do this or do we reach out and try to find a volunteer? But that part is hard. We're trying to save dogs. We're not designers. That's hard for us. And so it was a great bonus that you had that piece to your puzzle already provided for the rescues as well.
Yeah, so a lot of rescues, just like Tanya said, a lot of rescues, like she was saying, they don't have a logo. It's like, well, I don't have a logo. I'm just a small rescue. I don't care what size rescue you are. We're not about that. Tell us your story, give us a reason why we should feature you. And we're not looking for, we rescued this, or we're just trying to get some sort of a background. And obviously we want to make sure it's a legitimate rescue. We've never had a problem with it, but, we still have to, do our due diligence and make sure it's a legitimate rescue. But if you don't have a logo, no big deal. We've got creators here that can do that for you to help you out. Like Tanya said, we don't do anything without your approval. So the logo gets approved, the T-shirt itself gets approved, the colors get approved, and then now you've got several people all across the country that are wearing your rescue T-shirt.
So memberships don't know what shirt they're going to get next month.
Great point. That's exactly right, Beverly. We don't disclose, and there's a reason for that. We never disclose what rescue we're going to feature each month. It's kind of like a surprise in your mailbox every month. The reason we do that is because we don't want membership members signing up and canceling based on what they're going to get.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it creates an unfair advantage. So maybe it's a big rescue out of New York City and everybody knows who it is. Then you might have extra people sign up, but then when they find out it's a smaller rescue out of wherever, Florida or whatever, then they might want to cancel that month. And I don't think that's fair to the smaller rescues. So that's why we never disclose.
Okay. Yeah, that is a good idea. And do you guys only ship throughout the U.S.?
No, we'll ship all over the world.
Okay. That's good to know.
And there's always, the cost for the membership is $20 a month. There's no commitment. Your card gets billed on the first of every month, and then we normally ship the T-shirts out at the end of every month because we have to be able to. The reason why we do that, and we live in unfortunately, we live in an Amazon world. Everybody expects to swipe their credit card, and then it shows up in their mailbox, 2 days later. And unfortunately, that's not the way it works, with small businesses. And the reason why we do that is we charge the credit cards on the first because that way we can allocate and we can get an exact count of what we need to order for the shirts.
Exactly.
And then that's why they ship towards the end of the month. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't be able to give as much back to the rescue because we would be overspending every month trying to make sure we have enough shirts. And then we'd have inventory and all that to deal with.
Big problem, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big problem. So, so we charge on the first and then we deliver towards the end of the month. And then, like I said, they sign up and then they can cancel anytime. There's no commitment. You don't have to sign up for 6 months. You can sign up for 1 month or 2 months or 2 years or whatever you want to sign up for.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Jim, for your work. That's awesome and creative.
Thank you.
So thank you both for coming on and our show producer, Mark Winter, for making the show possible. You can check out both organizations at agaperescue.org for Agape Animal Rescue and dogrescueshirtclub.com for Jim's work. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for the show, please email me at beverly@petliferadio.com. So until next time, spread animal compassion.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.